Hey up guys, so here we are, the 95th Academy Awards are just a few days away. We've got no more precursors, Oscar voting closed on the 7th, so our Oscar winners have been chosen, okay? Their fates have been sealed into the envelopes that will be revealed this Sunday, and I am so excited. I always get excited for the Oscars, okay? This is my Super Bowl Sunday. But there's something about this year which just feels more exciting than a usual Oscars year. And I think it's because it's time for me to make my predictions and there are still so many categories that I am uncertain of, okay? I am torn on more categories than usual this year. I mean, I think that's great. Last year I did very well. I got 20 out of 23 correct. That was a very good year for me, maybe one of my best. And I'm not anticipating to do that well this year, okay? I am nervous because I'm taking some risks in some categories, and yeah, risks don't always pay off. I mean, that's why they call them risks, doy. But yeah, this could potentially be one of my worst Oscar years, but I'm okay with that because this was an exceptionally tough year to call. But yeah, my worst ever year, I think I only got 16 correct. If I get more than 16, I'll be happy with myself because at least I've not done worse than my worst year. Everything Everywhere All at Once looks set to be our biggest winner of the night. It received 11 Oscar nominations and it does have the potential and the capacity to win the most, including Best Picture. Yeah, I don't want to jinx it. And if it does go on to win Best Picture, it could be one of our most awarded Best Picture winners of recent memory. Because like in the last, 10, 15 years of the Oscars, most Best Picture winners don't win more than like 3 or 4. It's rare to see a Best Picture winner win more than 5 these days. Like last time a Best Picture winner won more than 5, or was 5, was The Artist. That won 5. I have a feeling Everything Everywhere All at Once will receive somewhere between 5 and 8 Oscars. And if it does win 8, it will be on par with the number of wins that Slumdog Millionaire won. The question is, will the Academy go all in on Everything Everywhere All at Once? Because it has done very well in the guilds. It's won in places we didn't expect it to win, and it could translate into the Oscars. So we could see it show up in some unexpected categories like costume design, or score, or maybe best song. But we shall see. Please do let me know your Oscar predictions in the comment section down below. I love hearing your theories and opinions. And a big thank you to all of you who have been so supportive with all my Oscar season coverage the past few weeks. Like, your kind comments and love and encouragement has been wonderful and appreciated, and I just want to say thank you to you guys for that. Anyway, we've got 23 categories to talk about, so let's dive in. Best Actress! Yes, we are starting off with the big one. Yes, arguably bigger than Best Picture, in my eyes. I will be holding my breath and clenching my ass cheeks until they read out that name. Who is it gonna come down to, Cate Blanchett or Michelle Yeoh? Sorry to all you Andrea Riseborough stans, it's not happening. I've already done a thorough deep dive discussion and prediction on this category, so if you want my full, extensive thoughts on this category, watch that video. I'm just gonna keep it brief here, okay? This category really is 50-50. History suggests this award will go to Cate Blanchett. She won the Golden Globe, the Critics' Choice, and the BAFTA, okay? That's a winner's package. However, Michelle Yeoh has the Golden Globe and the SAG and would make history as the first ever Southeast Asian woman to win Best Actress at the Oscars, as well as only the second ever woman of color to win Best Actress in this category since Halle Berry. The question is, will the Oscars go with the recent trend of giving it to the BAFTA winner for Best Actress? Look, at the past 10 years, it has matched 8 out of 10 times. Or will they decide to make history and give it to Michelle Yeoh? It's tough because Cate Blanchett is in the more traditional type of role that wins Best Actress at the Oscars. The character study in a hard-hitting drama, and Tar did do quite well at the Oscars. It overperformed, it ended up getting 6 nominations in total, illustrating that the Academy do like and respect this movie. Whereas Michelle Yeoh is the lead in a sci-fi comedy, and a performance like hers has never won Best Actress at the Oscars before. There is no precedent for a role like hers to win here, so she has some serious genre bias to overcome. But the reason I think she might actually pull it off is because Michelle Yeoh is in the Best Picture frontrunner. If you're going to give Everything Everywhere All at Once Best Picture, then wouldn't you also want to award the performance which helmed the story, who was the heart and soul of the film and made it so emotionally impactful? Michelle Yeoh also appears to have momentum on her side. She's hot off the wins of SAG and Indie Spirit, but could those wins be giving us false hope? It sure looks like momentum, but it could be an illusion. This really is an Ava Max category for me because my head and my heart are caught in between. La 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 la. La 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 la. My head says Cate Blanchett, but my heart says Michelle Yeoh, so I gotta call in my gut to see what he thinks. My gut is saying it's Michelle Yeoh's time, okay? Everything Everywhere All at Once is having a moment, and it only makes sense to award Michelle Yeoh along with it. Definitely a gamble to predict Michelle Yeoh because there is no precedent for a lead in a goofy sci-fi comedy to win Best Actress at the Oscars. But this is Michelle Yeoh's career-defining role, okay? She is an icon of the industry, and I think the Academy will want to give her first, which is way overdue, rather than give Cate Blanchett her third. Best Actor! Oof, this is another Ava Max category for me. My head says Austin Butler, my heart says Brendan Fraser. My head and my heart are caught in between, yeah. La 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 la. La 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 la. Again, if you want a full deep dive analysis of this category, then yeah, watch that video. Okay, but the crux of the argument is Austin Butler has Golden Globe and BAFTA. And Best Actor at the BAFTAs has matched the last 9 years in a row. And Austin Butler's performance is in a Best Picture contender. The last time Best Actor went to someone who didn't have a Best Picture nomination was to Jeff Bridges in Crazy Heart in 2010. So stats-wise, Austin Butler is the absolute favorite to win, okay? He is who you should predict. Brendan Fraser only has Critics' Choice and SAG, but also his film The Whale was not nominated for Best Picture. That puts him at a major disadvantage. It also doesn't help that The Whale only received 3 Oscar nominations, whereas Elvis got 8, which heavily indicates they prefer one film over the other. That's 1 more point for Austin Butler. They are both transformational performances that involve makeup, which the Academy usually goes for. But what gives Butler even more reason to win is that he is playing a real-life person, and an icon of that, Elvis freaking Presley. In the last 12 years, Best Actor has gone 8 out of 12 times to someone playing a real-life person. Okay, the Academy typically prefers them to play someone real. But what Brendan Fraser has in his corner is a comeback narrative, a de-glamorization transformation, and a performance that left audiences in floods of tears and had Brendan Fraser on the receiving end of so many standing ovations around the world. Now, as we have seen in the past, having a narrative isn't necessarily a good thing in this category. A good example to look at is Chadwick Boseman a few years ago, who, like Brendan Fraser, won the Critics' Choice Award and the SAG Award, and then lost the BAFTA to Anthony Hopkins, and then lost the Oscar. And he had a very juicy narrative because he had sadly passed away and was going to win the Oscar posthumously, and the Academy didn't go for it. Also, Brendan Fraser is in the typical age bracket to win Best Actor, okay? He is 54, whereas Austin Butler is 31. It's rare to see someone as young as Austin Butler win Best Actor, but it can be done. Eddie Raymond was 33, Daniel Day-Lewis was 32 when he did My Left Foot, and Adrian Brody was 29. They do tend to give Best Actor to someone who has been around a bit longer. Elvis was Austin Butler's breakout performance, but a phenomenal performance if that. They're also 2 of the most talked about performances of the past year, okay? These performances created a lot of noise, a lot of excitement, and a lot of discussion. In my opinion, Brendan Fraser gives the most emotionally impactful performance of the 2, whereas Austin Butler gives the most impressive transformation, okay? Embodying Elvis in mind, body, and soul, okay? He lived in that character. So either one of them is a worthy winner in my eyes. So yeah, honestly, history and stats really suggest that it is going to go to Austin Butler. But I'm gonna be foolish here and predict with my heart and go with Brendan Fraser. I know that the odds are stacked against him, and I know The Whale has its haters, but I think enough people still really responded to Brendan Fraser's emotionally barnstorming performance, even if they didn't like The Whale, the movie. Sometimes you have to separate the performance from the movie. And I think, well, more accurately, I hope that he does defy the BAFTA stat and the Best Picture stat, and he ends up winning it. Honestly, if you're watching this video to get some guidance on how to fill out your Oscar ballot, I would strongly encourage you to listen to the stats and predict Austin Butler. Because Austin Butler legit has far more working in his favor to win the Best Actor Oscar. But sometimes I have to listen to my heart, and my heart is telling me Brendan Fraser. And I know I'm probably being stupid and foolish, and I'm probably gonna be disappointed, but I would rather take a risk on Fraser and be wrong than always go with the stats, because stats are made to be broken from time to time. I just want to squeeze this in real quick. Colin Farrell does have the potential to be a surprise here, okay? He isn't a Best Picture contender, And while it's unlikely because all he has is the Golden Globe, I'm not ruling him out. But yeah, if he does win, I will be so shocked. Best Supporting Actress. Gosh, this is by far the most open of the 4 acting categories this year. Genuinely not sure who is going to clinch it, but it does seem like it is a 3-way race between Angela Bassett, Kerry Condon, and Jamie Lee Curtis. I've got another deep dive analysis video of this category, so yeah, do check out that video if you like. I'm going to go with Kerry Condon, and here's a few reasons why. Both Angela Bassett and Jamie Lee Curtis have to overcome the genre bias of the films that they're in, whereas Kerry Condon is in a tragicomedy. Okay, the Academy have awarded Martin McDonagh movie performances before with Frances McDormand and Sam Rockwell in 3 Billboards, so Kerry Condon can do it. She has the most safest, most traditional of those 3 performances. Kerry Condon is also the only nominee of these 5 ladies who comes from outside of the United States, okay? She's Irish, and I feel like Kerry Condon is gonna have more support from European Oscar voters. Kerry Condon is also in a Best Picture contender. Banshees received 9 nominations, which means the Academy will be watching Banshees, and I think they will want to honor Banshees where they can, and Best Supporting Actress might be one of the best options for them. Also, Angela Bassett and Jamie Lee Curtis have similar narratives, okay? They are both 64, they are both industry legends, and they both have supportive fan bases, which I think is going to result in them splitting votes. Some are going to vote for Bassett, some are going to vote for Curtis, and that's going to leave ample room for Kerry Condon to come at the middle with all her support from her European voters and clinch the win. Also, Kerry Condon has the BAFTA, and in the last 20 years, Best Supporting Actress has matched at Oscars and BAFTAs 16 out of those 20 times. So it's a very helpful precursor. Also, I just find it very hard to believe that Banshees goes home with nothing, okay? I just can't see that happening. The Academy will want to give it something, and Best Supporting Actress just makes a lot of sense. Best Supporting Actor is the easiest of the 4 acting categories, okay? It is going to Ke Huy Quan. Apart from the BAFTA, he has been the biggest acting sweeper of this award season. Next Best Picture just published a really interesting article on the winners' stats of this award season. There's a link in the video description down below. I highly recommend checking it out. It shows that Ke Huy Quan has won 54 prizes this award season. The most of any acting category this year, but also one of the biggest sweeps of any acting performance of any year, okay? It's up there with J.K. Simmons from Whiplash. This prediction feels very assured, okay? He is the emotional center of Everything Everywhere All at Once. He gives a leading man's performance in a supporting role. He's got the whole laundry and taxes line, which people just keep referencing. He has been crushing it this whole award season, absolutely nailing all the speeches that he's given. He's got a glorious comeback narrative as well. He is truly beloved. He's got precursors, he's got stats, he's got a narrative, he's in the Best Picture frontrunner. If he did lose, that would be a huge gag. But yeah, in 72 hours time, we're gonna be living in a world where we can say Academy Award winner Ke Huy Quan, okay? I am so ready for it. Best Original Screenplay. All the way through award season, this seemed like a 2-way race between Martin McDonagh for Banshees and the Daniels for Everything Everywhere. I still think Martin McDonagh could win this, okay? He did win the BAFTA, even though he did have home turf advantage there. And when you look at the amount of wins for this category this year, technically Banshees does have more for Original Screenplay, but it's literally 29 for Banshees and 28 for Everything Everywhere, so it's winning by 1. Banshees is a really well-written script, and it does seem like this could be a category where it does triumph in. But I am leaning more towards Everything Everywhere winning Original Screenplay for a few reasons. Look at the category. It's called Best Original Screenplay, and in terms of originality, Everything Everywhere is clearly the most original film of the 5. And in recent years, we have seen the Academy go for more cooler, out-of-the-box, original screenplays like Promising Young Woman, Parasite, Get Out, Her, Django Unchained, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So yeah, Everything Everywhere fits the bill of a cooler, more original pick than Banshees does. Also, Everything Everywhere has been having so much success recently. It has been winning so many Guild Awards, and it just won the WGA. Yes, I know Banshees wasn't eligible at WGA, but I still think even if it had been nominated, that Everything Everywhere would have won. Also, another interesting stat is that Best Original Screenplay at the Oscars tends to match more with Critics' Choice than BAFTA in recent years. And a really good example is the year that Martin McDonagh was up for 3 Billboards. He lost the Critics' Choice Award to Get Out, And then Jordan Peele went on to win Best Original Screenplay at the Oscars as well for Get Out. So, is history gonna repeat itself here? I'm predicting it will. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about Everything Everywhere here. It feels like it should be part of its winner's package. But yeah, my prediction is still gonna be the Daniels for Everything Everywhere. Best Adapted Screenplay. I am so glad that the tide seems to have turned back in favor of Sarah Polley for Women Talking. I've been saying since TIFF that Women Talking was going to be our Best Adapted Screenplay winner at the Oscars. But then, Women Talking had this terrible turnout over award season. It was shut out of so many guilds, it was completely shut out of the BAFTAs. But I think all that snubbery actually did end up benefiting Sarah Polley in a way, because it got people talking, made people talking, women talking way, sorry. But yeah, I think she gained some sympathy, and people came back around to Women Talking, they gave it another watch, and then it ended up getting the Best Picture nomination, and now I think with the WGA win that she is gonna win Best Adapted Screenplay at the Oscars. Her biggest threat here though is All Quiet on the Western Front. It did win the BAFTA, but again, she wasn't nominated at BAFTA. But All Quiet on the Western Front is an anti-war film, okay? It's not the type of film that typically wins screenplay at the Oscars. And yes, I know it is an adaptation of one of the most beloved bits of literature of all time, but I have a feeling All Quiet on the Western Front was a BAFTA thing, because they really went all in on All Quiet at BAFTA, and I don't see the Academy having the same kind of like adulation for All Quiet. They're definitely not gonna do what BAFTA did and give it 7 wins. I'm not predicting the Oscars to follow in the BAFTA's footsteps for Best Adapted Screenplay, because when you think of All Quiet on the Western Front, you think of the technical aspects like the score and the sound, as well as the visual aspects like the cinematography. Whereas when I think of Women Talking, it is the screenplay that immediately comes to mind. The dialogue really leaps off the screen in that movie. It has the most exquisite vocabulary. And like All Quiet on the Western Front, it's also urgent, topical, and timely, but All Quiet on the Western Front is gonna go home with a few Oscars, okay? This is Women Talking's best chance to go home with something. And Sarah Polley is also an actress, okay? So I can see her having more support than just the writer's branch. I remember being bowled over by the dialogue in Women Talking. With All Quiet, I remember being bowled over by the stunning cinematography, the spectacular stunt work and action set pieces. Okay, so that's what I'm basing my prediction off of. I am predicting that Sarah Polley will end up winning Best Adapted Screenplay at the Oscars. As she should. Costume design. This is another one that I'm quite torn on, but I think it's gonna come down to either Black Panther: Wakanda Forever or Elvis. But could we potentially see a surprise here? Maybe. For most of award season, I thought this was gonna go to Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. It has won the most awards, technically. Ruthie Carter won for the previous Black Panther movie, so the Academy clearly likes the costume designs in these movies. But the question is, will some Academy voters think the costumes are too similar to the previous movie, so should we acknowledge something different this time around? Admittedly, Ruthie Carter did up the ante with the costume designs in the sequel, but again, this is a sequel, and to a superhero movie as well. Are they gonna feel the need to award this franchise twice for costumes when they could honor something different this time around, like Babylon or Elvis or Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, or even Everything Everywhere? I recently rewatched Everything Everywhere, and part of me does wonder, could Shirley Karata surprise here? The costume work in Everything Everywhere is insane, particularly in the scenes with Jobu Tupaki. There are so many eye-catching pieces in this movie. Could they potentially add costumes to Everything Everywhere's winners package? I don't think it's crazy to entertain that idea. Everything Everywhere is surging right now in the guilds, including the Costume Designers Guild. It won Best Sci-Fi Fantasy. Could Shirley Karata ride the Everything Everywhere wave to an Oscar win? It's definitely not impossible, but I will say it would be a surprise. I'm leaning more towards Elvis because the Academy does love Catherine Martin. She's previously won for Great Gatsby and Moulin Rouge. And while I know she won her previous Oscars for fictional movies, where she had carte blanche to create original costumes, and Elvis is, you know, a story about a real life icon, so she's having to recreate his looks, okay? There's less originality there, but again, it's Elvis Presley, who was kind of a fashion icon, and, you know, Catherine Martin really got to put her own stamp on a lot of Elvis's looks, like the pink suit and the leather jumpsuit and all the Vegas residency looks, so there was a lot for her to work with here. And also, Elvis is a heavily nominated film, and you can make the argument that fashion does play an integral part to the story. Elvis does have the Best Picture nomination, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever doesn't, and the previous Black Panther did have a Best Picture nomination. That movie was a real cultural moment, which I think, helped give it a boost to winning all the categories that it did. So I'm not sure there's the same immediacy to award the sequel as there was the first. Oh, but it is tough because all of Ruthie Carter's costumes came out of her head, whereas, Catherine Martin was going off of information that was already there. So it almost feels like Catherine Martin had an easier task. But with Catherine Martin's wins at both BAFTA and the Costume Designers Guild, I think that gives her a slight edge. So yeah, I'm gonna predict Elvis. Production design. This is a pretty assured prediction. I am going with Florencia Martin and Anthony Carlino for Babylon because it really does fit the bill of a typical production design winner of recent years, with it being set in Hollywood. Films like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Mank both recently won this. Also, it's been sweeping a lot of the prizes this award season. It won BAFTA, it won Critics' Choice, it won the Art Directors Guild. So yeah, it's a pretty safe prediction. I'm going with Babylon. Cinematography. Ooh, Lord. This is another one I'm not confident on. It should be going to Top Gun Maverick, okay? It's won the most prizes this year, but sadly, Claudia Miranda wasn't even nominated. One of the most egregious snubs of this year, probably just below Daniel Deadwyler. Mandy Walker did just become the first ever woman to win at ASC for Elvis, and if she does win the Oscar, she'll also be the first woman to win Best Cinematography there. So yeah, she definitely has a narrative, and she could end up winning this, but her win at ASC, I don't really think she had enough time to capitalize on the momentum of the ASC win. Like, it was very recent. So that makes me think it's probably gonna go to James Friend for All Quiet on the Western Front. All Quiet on the Western Front is one of the most beautiful looking films of the past year. And also, this is just my opinion, but there was something about Elvis's cinematography which I didn't appreciate, which is that it had this sort of shiny, glossy veneer, which kind of made it look fake in places. Whereas All Quiet's cinematography felt so cold and immersive. It felt like you were there as you were watching it. You could really feel the harsh, unforgiving conditions in the trenches. It did just win the BAFTA, and while part of me questions whether BAFTA gave it cinematography because they just loved All Quiet and just showered it with wins, I don't think All Quiet on the Western Front is only going to go home with Best International Feature. I think it is going to collect at least one, maybe two more prizes, and cinematography makes a lot of sense. And because I think All Quiet is a stronger contender for Best Picture than Elvis, I think they will give cinematography to All Quiet. It feels more safe to me to go with All Quiet. Elvis is very in your face visually, okay? It's very Baz, and some people love that, but others find it overbearing and too much. So I can see more people being turned off by Elvis's cinematography than I can All Quiet's. So yeah, I'm predicting cinematography will go to All Quiet on the Western Front. Best editing. For a good while, I did think this was gonna go to Top Gun Maverick, because often the Academy does like to pair the winner of Best Editing with Best Sound. So spoiler alert, you can probably predict what I'm going to predict for Best Sound. But I do think this will be a year where we see that stat broken and they're going to split up the winners of sound and editing. I've been saying ever since I saw Everything Everywhere back in March last year, and you can check my review for proof, that the one Oscar that Everything Everywhere absolutely 100% deserves to win is editing for Paul Rogers. That movie owes a huge debt to Paul Rogers because the movie could have so easily collapsed under the weight of its multiverse hopping narrative if the editing was shit. And thankfully, it wasn't. Paul Rogers was the glue that kept everything feeling cohesive and consistent and easy to follow. He absolutely deserves it because he probably had the hardest task of anybody working on Everything Everywhere. Thankfully, this has been reflected in this award season. He has won the most awards this year. He's won at Critics' Choice, he's won at BAFTA, and he won ACE. So he is a pretty comfortable prediction to win in this category. It's also the film with the most editing. It's a film where you can see the editing in action. It's very visible. It stands out. And yes, it is flashy, but it's allowed to be because the film is so over the top. So unless the Academy really wants to give Top Gun Maverick the editing and sound combo, I'm predicting Paul Rogers will win Best Editing at the Oscars. Makeup and hair, another tough category this year. Well, at least for me anyways, because I've gone with Brendan Fraser for Best Actor, and it's normal to see a pairing of a transformative performance win hair and makeup as well. We've seen it before with Gary Oldman, Meryl Streep, Marion Cotillard, and just last year, Jessica Chastain. So logic says if you're gonna predict Brendan Fraser for Best Actor, then you should predict The Whale to win Best Hair and Makeup. Like sound and editing, makeup and hair and an actor's performance is a pairing you'll often see at the Oscars. But what's tough is we've got two transformative Best Actor performances, both nominated for hair and makeup. And there are a few outcomes we could see here. We could see a double pairing of hair and makeup and Best Actor for Brendan Fraser. We could see a double pairing of hair and makeup and Best Actor for Austin Butler. Or we could see a split where Best Actor goes to Austin Butler, but hair and makeup goes to The Whale. Or we could see a flip side of that argument and see hair and makeup go to Elvis, but Brendan Fraser wins Best Actor. Or who knows, maybe something else will surprise here, like All Quiet on the Western Front. It's also tough because Austin Butler was transformed into a real life person, Elvis Presley, and usually in this category you do see someone win for transforming them into a real person, whereas Brendan Fraser was playing a fictional character, but he did have the most drastic transformation. He was transformed into a 600-pound man, okay? So it's definitely the most makeup, but is it the best? Elvis does seem like the more logistical, safer pick in this category. It has won some substantial awards in this category for Critics' Choice, BAFTA, as well as the Makeup and Hairstylist Guild. It got 2 wins in that guild. It got Best Period Hair and Best Period Makeup. Also, Brendan Fraser's transformation is more of a polarizing subject, okay? It's less controversial for Austin Butler to transform into Elvis than it is for Brendan Fraser to transform into a 600-pound man. Okay, obesity is a sensitive subject for a lot of people, and it does add to the whole conversation about, you know, actors who are obese getting to play obese roles and all. So yeah, Elvis feels like a safer pick in every sense of the word. But also The Whale did win Best Special Effects Makeup at the Makeup and Hairstylist Guild, and typically with this category, the Academy notices makeup effects more than they do hair. And to me, The Whale is a more obvious use of makeup. It was kind of a new development in the world of prosthetics and makeup when they built the fat suit using a 3D printer, and it really did look very convincing. So yeah, when I think of The Whale, the things that really do come to mind are Brendan Fraser's performance and the makeup. So will the fact there's a lot of prosthetics in it be what, you know, makes the Academy go, oh, it's the most noticeable use of makeup, so I'll give my vote to The Whale. The Whale is definitely the more showier use of makeup, and it was an achievement, but Elvis definitely has a more subtle approach to its makeup. But what's really cool about Elvis is that you can see the gradual development of Elvis across several decades, and you see the subtle differences of how he ages with, you know, the bags under his eyes, his skin starting to sag, and even his hair. It changes, it evolves like Elvis's hair did throughout the years. Like the pompadour gets bigger throughout, you know, his career. And I think Elvis's approach to hair and makeup is more impressive than The Whale. The question is, will voters go for the more showier or subtle method of hair and makeup? I think Elvis would celebrate both makeup and hair, whereas The Whale is more a celebration of the makeup. Also, if Elvis wins hair and makeup, it would make a nice pairing with its potential win for costume design. Elvis is less problematic, so I'm gonna predict Elvis for hair and makeup, but if The Whale does end up winning in this category, then it is going to make me feel a little bit more assured that Brendan Fraser actually has a good chance to win in Best Actor. But I do admit, it is odd for me to split hair and makeup with the actor's performance. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say Elvis gets hair and makeup, but Brendan Fraser gets Best Actor. It's the same outcome as the Critics' Choice. Best Visual Effects. It's Avatar: The Way of Water, okay? It's over, it's done, let's move on. Best Sound, Top Gun Maverick. There's an outcome where All Quiet on the Western Front wins this category because it did win at BAFTA, but the reason I'm going with Top Gun Maverick is All Quiet on the Western Front doesn't have the capacity to win the sound and editing combo that usually happens in this category. Because it wasn't nominated in editing, whereas Top Gun Maverick is nominated for editing and sound. And while I think editing will go to Everything Everywhere All at Once, I think the Academy will want to honor Top Gun Maverick somewhere, okay? And sound makes the most sense. It's a movie about vehicles, there's lots of whooshing, and like the scenes in the cockpit, you know, are very immersive, and Yeah, it's such a patriotic movie as well. I think, you know, it's gonna pull through in the sound category. I'm going with Top Gun Maverick, but if All Quiet on the Western Front does win here, I won't be all that surprised. Best score! I am so nervous for this category, okay? This is one where we could see a shocker. Frustratingly, I can't say with confidence that Babylon is going to win this, even though it should be winning all the prizes this award season, but it hasn't. All it's won was Golden Globe. Critics' Choice went to Tar, weirdly, and BAFTA went with All Quiet. Babylon is also not a Best Picture contender, and recent years at the Oscars have shown that it is a substantial advantage to have your film be in Best Picture in order to win Best Score. And I do have to ask myself, are the Academy going to give Babylon 2 wins without it receiving a Best Picture nomination? It's not impossible, it can happen, okay? It's been done before, like Great Gatsby pulled it off, and even Alice in Wonderland. Statistics say it's gonna go to All Quiet on the Western Front, and it does have an imposing, gloomy score, which really gives the film so much atmosphere. No denying that Volker Bertelmann did an amazing job, and I do think the Academy will want to honor All Quiet in more than just international feature. But again, was All Quiet's win at BAFTA just a BAFTA thing because BAFTA loved All Quiet? Could John Williams pull off a surprise win here and, you know, get his career award for The Fabelmans? God, I hope not. I love John Williams, but sorry, not for this score. I am really torn in this category, okay? Because the stats tell me I should predict All Quiet on the Western Front, but something in my bones just tells me it's gonna go to Babylon. Justin Hurwitz's score for Babylon, to me, feels like the most discussed and the most played soundtrack of the past year. Somebody even pointed out to me on Twitter that the Oscars have used the Voodoo Mama music from Babylon as background music for an ABC advert, you know, advertising the 95th Oscars, okay? This music is everywhere. And say what you will about Babylon, I know not everybody likes it, but everyone agrees the music in that movie slaps. So I have to ask myself, what's more important in this category? The fact that Justin Hurwitz won the Golden Globe, or the fact that All Quiet on the Western Front has a Best Picture nomination? It is tough, this category, but despite my better judgment, I am gonna predict that Babylon wins original score. The score to Babylon is an all-timer, okay? Give Justin Hurwitz his 3rd Oscar. He deserves it. Best original song. I feel pretty good about this one, okay? I'm going with Naatu Naatu from RRR, okay? The song is catchy, it's fun, it's, you know, an actual moment in the movie, like it's not an end credit song. Best song is RRR's only nomination, but given its cross-cultural appeal, I think it is gonna win. It's already won Critics' Choice and Golden Globe. That puts it pretty close to a lock in my eyes. I thought for the longest time it was gonna go to Lady Gaga for Hold My Hand, but Naatu Naatu is a far more exciting pick. I've heard some people say that Lift Me Up from Black Panther Wakanda Forever could surprise here because Rihanna recently performed at the halftime Super Bowl. You know, she got a lot of people talking, but she didn't perform the Lift Me Up song from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, so I'm not sure it really adds to the argument, but who knows? It's not impossible, but yeah, I feel pretty good about Naatu Naatu. All right, let's move on to the shorts. First up, we have animated short. I'm predicting The Boy, the Fox, the Mole, and the Horse, because Apple have given this a major push recently. The potential upset here, I'd say, is My Year of Dicks, but I'm sticking with The Boy, the Fox, the Mole, and the Horse. It's fun to say. Documentary short. This feels like a toss-up between The Elephant Whisperers and Stranger at the Gate. I'm leaning more towards Stranger at the Gate because it's more feel-good and it's being backed by Malala, of all people. See, I'm going with Stranger at the Gate, but I won't be too surprised if The Elephant Whisperer does win. Best live action short. This one is gonna come down to either An Irish Goodbye or Le Poupelle, and I can see why some people would go for Le Poupelle because Alfonso Cuarón is attached to it. Do they want to give him another Oscar in a different category, this time for live action short? I'm gonna go with An Irish Goodbye. I've seen it. It's a bit more sentimental and heartfelt, and it did also win the BAFTA. Animated feature. Okay, this is a gimme. We all know it's gonna go to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. He has won pretty much every award under the sun for this. Okay, Critics' Choice, BAFTA, the Annie Award. I love Marcel and Puss in Boots, but they're not gonna win this year, sorry. It's gonna go to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and this will be Netflix's first win in animated feature. Documentary feature. For a long time, I thought this was gonna go to All the Beauty and the Bloodshed because it did win the top prize at Venice, but I have jumped ship to Navalny, okay? It makes sense. It's one at the PGA, it's one at the BAFTA, so it makes sense that it would win at the Oscars as well. I would personally rather see it go to Fire of Love, but I'm predicting Navalny. Best International Feature, there is no point wasting breath discussing the other nominees, okay? This is going to All Quiet on the Western Front because it's the only nominee here that is also nominated for Best Picture. If you have that, you win, okay? That stat has never been broken. It's a lock. Best Director, this is most likely gonna go to the Daniels. They have the DGA, okay? That is a highly reliable precursor in this category. In the 74 years that the DGA has been in existence, there have only been 8 times where the winner at DGA didn't go on to win at the Oscars. And it seems highly unlikely with the windfall sweep of awards that the Daniels have received that they won't win Best Director at the Oscars. But what about Spielberg? What about the fact that he made a personal movie about his childhood that celebrates movies, you know, his Academy catnip, and he won the People's Choice Award at TIFF, and, you know, won the Golden Globe drama? Well, sorry, no. I don't think that's enough for Spielberg to pull off a surprise win here. Yes, he's Spielberg, okay? He is the GOAT. He is the greatest of all time, but there's not enough evidence to make me think that he's just gonna pull through at the last second and win here, okay? If he did win over the Daniels, it would be such a gag. Honestly, at this point, I think Todd Field has a better chance of winning Best Director than Spielberg. But no, the Daniels is assured, okay? They deserve it as well, okay? It was the most ambitious bit of directing this year as well. And what they pulled off with Everything Everywhere with a relatively low budget is amazing, okay? It just shows, you know, how crafty and innovative and clever they are. It's such a deserved win, and I can't wait to see the Daniels up on that stage collecting multiple trophies. But yes, yeah, this is important. They should win Best Director, and I'm predicting they will win Best Director. And last but not least, we have Best Picture. What is there to say about this category, really? Normally, with one of these final Oscar prediction videos, I spend ages discussing this category because I'm always umming and ahhing over how it could play out, and, you know, it's got the unique variable of it being decided from a preferential ballot. Like, there's so many, like, things to discuss, but it feels like there isn't much to discuss this year, okay? Like, it does seem like Everything Everywhere is going to be our Best Picture winner at the Oscars. Yeah, like, it has everything that it needs in order to win, okay? It won the DGA. It won the SAG Ensemble. It just won the Writers Guild Award. And for added proof, it won the PGA, which is also decided using a preferential ballot, okay? It shows that there is support from all different branches of the Academy, okay, guys? I don't want to get cocky about it, and I know it's not over until it's over. And it was my favorite film of 2022, and I'm so excited at the prospect of it winning. And I'm a little nervous. For whatever reason, they just won't vote for it because, you know, of genre bias. It's a weird, goofy genre mashup of sci-fi, comedy, existential, crisis, family drama, adventure, fantasy. We've never seen a win like this before, but the evidence is there that it's gonna win, and I'm just so excited for that. But yes, I'm knocking on wood, I'm crossing all my fingers, I will be holding my breath, but really, it does seem like Everything Everywhere is gonna win this. And like, I would go into detail about what could surprise here. I mean, the most logical argument for like an alternative to Everything Everywhere is All Quiet, because it won Best Picture at BAFTA, but it doesn't have the Best Director nom for one thing, where Edward Berger had that BAFTA. He's not nominated at Oscars. And also, All Quiet on the Western Front is a remake. And, a remake of a film that already won Best Picture, okay? There's more original, more important films to honor with Best Picture. Everything Everywhere has more to say. Sure, All Quiet reflects what's going on in Russia and Ukraine and all that. But Everything Everywhere is a better winner all around because it speaks to so many different things about the world, okay? It's about generational trauma, it's about the generational gap, it's about the immigrant experience, it's about a family, you know, that's a universal thing, but it's about an immigrant family trying to get a slice of the American dream. And it's also a film that has a positive message about empathy and kindness and compassion and love. It's a crowd pleaser, okay? It's entertaining, but it's also profoundly clever. And the wonderful thing about Everything Everywhere is that when you're watching it, different people respond to it in different ways, okay? Whether you're a mother, a spouse, a daughter, a kid, someone that's queer, an immigrant, a minority, a human being going through a dark patch, a dreamer, a movie lover, okay? There's so many different ways to read and interpret this movie. This movie means so much to so many different people, which is why it's gonna be one of the most popular, out there, but beloved Best Picture winners of all time. Only 4 films in history have won DGA, PGA, WGA, and SAG Ensemble, and went on to win Best Picture, and those were American Beauty, No Country for Old Men, Slumdog Millionaire, and Argo. And I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is about to join that exclusive club. It's also rare to see a film which has such broad appeal be a Best Picture frontrunner, okay? This movie is loved by critics, it's loved by the industry, and it's loved by audiences. And it's also gonna be a game changer for future Best Picture winners as well. It is a true gem, a decade-defining film, and probably gonna be regarded as one of the best Best Picture winners of all time. It is an inspired choice for Best Picture, and one that the Academy can feel good about. So yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I'm predicting that Best Picture at the 2023 Academy Awards will go to Everything Everywhere All at Once. And there we have it, guys. Those were my final predictions for the 2023 Oscars. What do you think of my predictions? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comment section below, along with your predictions for the 2023 Oscars. If you have enjoyed this video, hit the like button for me. If you want more movie, TV, and Oscars-related content, don't forget to click subscribe. Stay tuned for my reactions video to this year's Oscars winners. That'll be up straight after we know who the winners are. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Harefield, and I'll see you next time.